On October 2nd this year, India woke up to a consultative paper released by the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This paper recommended 14 amendments to the Forest Conservation Act 1980 or the FCA. First things first, what is the FCA? This is a central act that came into force in 1980 with the aim of controlling deforestation. So what it basically did was to mandate the centre's permission in case forest land had to be diverted for a non-forestry purpose. This non-forestry purpose is something that the Act defines as any activity that requires clearing the forest or a part of it for any purpose other than reforestation. So an example of this would be construction of a road or an establishment of an industry. Now, to get this permission from the centre, the FCA required that an advisory committee be created which would then recommend or reject these proposals after going through each of them. But now, the current amendments propose 14 changes in the Act. Very broadly speaking, these changes can be grouped into two buckets. One is a huge push for plantations and preserving certain pristine forests, and second is a list of projects that can be exempted from the centre's permission, like projects for oil and natural gas drilling, defence and strategic projects, to name a few. In other words, these exemptions would hasten the process of clearing forests for a few of these listed non-forestry purposes. Confusing, right? We thought so too. Here we have amendments that could protect and harm existing forests all in the same breath. So what are these suggested changes and what do they really mean for our forests and for the many forest dependent communities of India?
It's a very confusing approach to what the government actually wants to do, whether it wants to preserve or it wants to open up these areas for greater developmental purposes. The current way in which the government seems to be moving forward is to ensure that we meet our targets under various international treaties. What is very confusing is that while you are saying on the one hand that private areas and private lands need to be freed up from the FCA because private players will then start planting more trees on their forests. At the same time, you're also exempting a lot of already existing regulations on legally classified lands, wastelands, grasslands, all sorts of classifications. Some of the problematic clauses that we do see is that the entire process of redefinition of what forests or the category of forest land will be has come up again. The second problematic thing is that they are asking for several projects and several categories of non-forest activities to be removed from the purview of the Forest Conservation Act, including plantations, exploratory drilling and things like that. So what it does mean is that it will open up these lands for developmental activities, which will completely defeat the purpose of why they have specified that they want this act to change, which is for conservation purposes. They have also translated this proposed paper in 9 to 10 languages, regional languages, which is great. But at the same time, if they truly want this process to be democratic and transparent, they also have to realize that not a lot of people who are dependent on forests will know how to read or write. Some of the interesting developments could be to see how we are going to define pristine areas. What happens to areas which are outside so-called pristine definition, but are rich in biodiversity? For example, grasslands and other categories of lands which had a slight protection under FCA earlier. Now they will have no protection.
अगर नॉर्मल सिचुएशन होती तो इसमें ये फॉरेस्ट डाइवर्जन प्रपोजल कोई भी लैंड का बनता वो एफसीए के पास जाती है, और एफसीए रूल्स में ये कंडीशन है कि लोगों के वन अधिकार सेटल होने चाहिए और उनसे एनओसी लेनी चाहिए। तो अब तो ये पूरा बाईपास कर दिया आप लोगों ने, पूरे लॉ को आप बाईपास कर रहे हैं, जहां जिससे ये है कि जिसमें लोगों की लाइवलीहुड, लोगों का उस फॉरेस्ट को लेके किस प्रकार से मैनेजमेंट, हर चीज को आप दरकिनार कर रहे हैं एक तरीके से। कि जो एफआरए है वो तो लोगों को जो है कि इन एरियाज में भी कई ऐसे जो डीम्ड फॉरेस्ट होंगे, कई ऐसे फॉरेस्ट होंगे, उसमें जो माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस है उसमें ओनरशिप राइट दे रहा है। ये तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कह रही है इन द एक्ट कि हम उनको ओनरशिप राइट दे रहे हैं ऐसे लैंड पे। अब आप दूसरे एक्ट में वो ओनरशिप राइट को कैसे खत्म कर सकते हैं? कई जगह जो नेचुरल फॉरेस्ट है वो हो सकता है ब्लू पाइन फॉरेस्ट है, कई जगह देवदार फॉरेस्ट है, और आज आप वहां पर लगा रहे हैं आइलैंथस, रोबिनिया स्पीसीज, जो सोशल फॉरेस्ट्री की ट्री जो वहां कभी मिलती नहीं है। तो बेसिकली उस फॉरेस्ट का पूरा आप कंपोजिशन जो है वो भी चेंज कर रहे हैं। तो किन्नौर जैसे एक अलग जिसका एक इकोसिस्टम है, जहां पर अगर आप कहें, बात तो करते हैं कि वहां पे 6000 से भी प्लस में स्क्वायर किलोमीटर ऑफ लैंड है, लेकिन आप एक्चुअली लैंड यूज देखोगे तो उसमें हार्डली 10-11% जो लैंड है वो जिसमें फॉरेस्ट भी हो सकता है, कम्युनिटीज भी उसमें रहेंगी, उसमें खेती भी होगी, और उसी के अंदर पूरा आपका डेवलपमेंट जो हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट्स भी बनने हैं, उसमें फॉरेस्ट डायवर्जन भी होना उसी के लिए, उसमें आर्मी स्ट्रेटेजिक एरिया तो आर्मी, रोड्स, पूरा उसी एक छोटे से चंक ऑफ लैंड जो कि नदी किनारे है उसी में होता है। तो वहां पे क्या है कि इतना ज्यादा कंटेस्टेशन ऑलरेडी है। तो मुझे ये लगता है कि जो प्लांटेशन ड्राइव है, आप इसको अगर बढ़ाएंगे तो ये कहीं से भी सक्सेसफुल अभी हो नहीं सकता।
See, the way in which today the Forest Advisory Committee is working, there are two extremes. The project proponents or the people who are interested in diversion of forest to non-forest use, they are saying it is taking too long. On the other hand, the civil society people are saying, no, whatever time they may be taking, but there is no due diligence. Rather than have a forest advisory committee which meets from time to time, and when it meets over 1 or 2 days or 3 days, then it clears 20-30 proposals at one go. So obviously, if you are clearing 20-30 proposals in 1 or 2 days, due diligence cannot be there. So what we are suggesting is that have a standing advisory committee which meets every day and which has both the two things. One is where decision making is fast. Second is they are making all the due diligence.